Hi, welcome back to my channel. First of all, I wanted to start with thank you for all the beautiful messages of support that you send me. Among those messages, there are lots of questions as well. Today, I picked 5 questions that can answer many other questions at the same time. So stay with me to the end of this video, and I'm going to answer some of your questions. The first question I'm going to answer is, where are you from originally? Well, I'm Persian. I was born in north of Iran. I left the country a few years after the revolution, even though the culture, the roots, the way that I see the life, the simplicity, and that unspoken poetry never left me. At a certain point, I started to write my memoir, a part of my life, an autobiography of me and the history that I lived. Identity, silence, survival, not that kind of survival that make headlines, but a silent one. The unspoken pain, grief, and invisible weight of starting all over, healing process that happened over and over and over. At a certain point, I was asked to publish it. But then I decided to not do that. Not because the offer was not good, but mostly because I thought sometimes books, they don't reach people enough, especially those that they need to read it. So I decided to publish it in my Substack page, chapter by chapter. For those of you that are curious to know about it, I'm going to leave the link in the description below. And I will be more than happy to welcome you to my page to read my story. So the second question I was asked is, what's your background and education? Well, I studied nutrition in Stanford Medical School. Then I was very curious about psychology of food, and one thing led to another. I started to study positive psychology, and right now I am senior practitioner, EMCC licensed. Well, the next question is, do you believe in manifestation? Well, yes and no. I do believe to manifestation. I believe that you are what you think. And what you think can become what you are. But I don't believe to this new age healing industry or manifestation. I don't believe to attend the 5 days retreat for 1,000 years and listen from someone that tells me, you go back home, sit down, count your finger twice a day, or sit and manifest and the things comes to you, while that person is really working hard to make money. The truth is, manifestation is just a dream. But how you can start to have a dream? By knowing yourself. Let me ask you one question. Imagine you want to build a house, okay? To build this house, what you need? First of all, you need to know the foundation of house. Then you need to know when you open that door, what you are going to expect, what you want to see. You have an idea of how this house should look like internally because you're going to live inside. That's your dream. Then, to start it, you should know lots of other factors, like your ability to build, time that you can dedicate to building the house, your physical and your financial possibilities, your responsibilities, and at the end, you will decide how that dream looks like. You can change it in the process of knowing yourself. Perhaps you come up with a first dream, but during this process of knowing yourself, it can change. Well, Manifestation for me is just like a reverse engineering. It doesn't come outward, it comes inward. First, you have to know yourself. There's a joke that I said once. A person was manifesting to win a lottery for an entire year, and then one day he got upset and tired of manifesting continuously, and he started to blame universe. And then at a certain point, universe appears by his side and says, well, my son, I got your message, but you could at least buy a ticket. The ticket is actually the steps that you take. It may sound funny, but it's true. You can't win a lottery without buying a ticket. The universe is not coming to give it to you. So the truth is that you have to start with knowing yourself, with taking small steps toward your dream. Unless you start to take those steps, the dream remains always a dream. You have to have a clear idea of what is your dream, not visualizing, sitting at home and only visualizing it, but visualizing it truly with knowing your capacities, your needs, what you want. Where does dream comes from which base? Is it from necessity? Is it from love? Is it from what you are expecting? And the most important, what you're going to do after, because reaching your dream is not, reaching your goal is not actually the destination that you have. The destination is after reaching your goal. What kind of life you're expecting. So, and what you expect, what kind of life you expect, is dependent on who you are. And when you have a clear idea, you start to take your first steps. The universe will meet you in between the way, not before that. Well, the next question is, what book do you recommend? I can recommend many books. There are so many beautiful books that you can read. But there is one that I'm going to recommend you. Atomic Habits by James Clear, and I know what you think. This is the book that everyone recommends. But there is a reason for that. Because the book doesn't try to impress you. He starts with his personal experience and struggle, and explain you how adding 1% of changes or habits every day to your daily life, just tiny little step of 1%, can lead to 365% improvement in a year. Clear says habits are compound interest of self-improvement. That line stays with me. Because change doesn't come with a sign from universe. It comes from knowing yourself and taking little small step every day. The moment of courage and consistency. That's when changes start. But there is another question. I've been healing for years, but I'm not yet ready to leave. Wow. First of all, we should know that healing is not destination. It's not a specific moment that you wake up and you say, okay, I'm healed. Now I can start doing my life. If you have an accident, you break a bone. The bone has a healing process, and you can say, well, the doctor can tell you, now you're okay, you can start walking. But the wound inside, it doesn't work that way. You're carrying with you wherever you go. So the way that you can actually deal with that pain, first of all, to know the roots of that pain. It's rooted in real things like unhealthy relation, fear, self-doubt, many reasons. But the way that you can deal with it is to deconstruct it, to take away those parts that you don't like anymore and start to reconstruct it. Reconstruct and add the parts that you like. But start with understanding where the roots of those wounds are. It doesn't start when you fix everything. It starts when you're realizing the reason to be healed. Because you're not broken. You're actually carrying a wound with you. But when you realize, I don't want to live this way and I want to live differently, but I don't know how. That's already the first step to heal. And your healing begins in the moment that you start to take action. Even a small little, what we say, that 1%, one little step, being present in your life. That's when the healing process starts. Understand that life has always up and down. And healing process is not something that one day you can stop. It goes on always because the pains keep changing. There are some pains that you have control on, some pains you don't have control on. It's dependent on how you see those pains. You have to feel them. There is no moment that you heal from feeling those pains. The pain is always there. You have to feel them. You have to be open to feel your feeling, but without judging it, without making an identity out of it. You know, there's a cliche that says, after every storm, there's a rainbow. It sounds like cliche, but I love it, you know, because you don't want to make an identity from the storm. Your identity is a rainbow, and the storm is the moment that you pause and step toward that rainbow. That's the moment that healing process starts. If you want me to talk about any of these subjects in a deeper way, just ask. If any other subject that you want me to talk about, just send me a message in a box below. And until next time, goodbye.